Good morning, fam, and those of you in Europe, good evening, early evening. So it's good to see you, fam, and investors of the Richard Hart ecosystem. I got some very, very special guests today. Going to teach us a little something here on Discourse. We try to educate whenever we can, and we try to BS the rest of the time. And I'm sure we're going to do both of that today. But I do have some very special guests with me today. They're going to teach us a little bit about how you can invest in movies and get tax deductions. So Owen's going to tell you a pretty cool story here in a couple minutes about how he doesn't pay taxes anymore. So he just keeps funneling money into these movies. The fortunate thing is he's found a great team, and I don't know if they were friends really before they started these opportunities, but he found a great team to work with and has become part of the team that makes profitable movies. So not only are they good, but because they are good, they are profitable. So I would like all of you guys to give a special round of applause for Owen, also known as Basketball, who has been around the scenes just a little bit in the last couple of weeks. And of course, our writer director, Jeff Ryan. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. Kinetics, thanks so much for having us. It's a pleasure.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
man.
you. Thank you.
Well, it's a pleasure for me because I've always loved the movie industry. Probably not as much as you and Jeff, Owen. You guys know what's up when it comes to how the industry works, the ins and outs, the casting, the finding good scripts, getting the movie sold, things of that nature. I have no idea on any of that stuff. Now I've been thrown, I feel like, to some degree into the deep end for the highest of stakes. So I've been very fortunate to get put my toes in, but it's something that I would like to play with a lot more going forward, and then rely on guys that are very knowledgeable like yourself, guys and gals, because I'm sure it's not just guys on your team. So I'd love to learn more. Before we go much further on this specific production that you guys are working on right now, Owen, can you give us kind of a breakdown? And Jeff, if you have anything to add, please by all means do. I'd like to know a little bit more of how this works, that you can invest in films, get tax deductions, and you personally have not paid income tax in some time.
Yeah, I'll start with what gets me excited about it, and I think Jeff has been doing it for a little bit longer than I have, and so I think he has just a little bit more richer perspective. But what actually got me really hooked on the value proposition of movie investing and Jeff and I's partnership started with me just kind of being the lead investor in our projects, and so the way that the tax law works is that any investment in a film production company, the year that the film goes into production and incurs expenses, can pass down to the investors as basically a loss against their both ordinary income and their capital gains income. And so I was, in crypto at the time, and then when you have these like kind of windfalls, you're like always in the back of your head, like dreading the end of the year and then sending that huge check to the IRS. And so it seemed to me like it's such a huge win-win-win where you're like, okay, I put my money towards this project that I think is going to, be a really cool asset. You're going to see it on the screen. People are going to enjoy it. You get to write it off your taxes and not pay the government if you don't want to. And then you get to basically defer the gains to a future year. And then if you make another movie, you can kind of do it again if you have a team that's able to make movies quick enough. So that's what gets me really excited. But I come from the world of finance, I think, as you know, and I think you do too, Kinetics. And so I pivoted a bit from finance into movie investing, producing, because I think it's like a very interesting way to hold your wealth and keep deferring your tax liability. It's just been absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
But the reason it's all possible is because of Jeff's genius model of how he makes movies. And so I could probably I'll let him explain how this happens and why it's not very common to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, you guys go ahead because I want to circle back around. I want to unpack a little bit of that, but I definitely want to touch on this first because I think that's probably the most important point to go forward with. What is this model look like, Jeff, that makes this possible, that you can do this over and over again repetitively?
Yeah, I mean, I think for myself, it kind of was a snowball effect of it started with just a love of movies and trying to make movies, and it was born out of not coming from, like the Spielbergs or, someone like in the world of Hollywood. So it was like, how do you get started? And it started with, okay, let's just go out and make movies with our friends and try it, cost no money. And then it's sort of, you started realizing once you had content in the marketplace, it felt like you had value. And therefore we kind of just snowballed into this effect of, okay, let's make movies extremely cheap. Let's do every job ourselves, learn every job. And as we kind of grew and got better, we just found ways to cut costs where I think most people making movies kind of just spend if it's not their own money. And it came from starting with investing in my own movies, because when it's your money, you're pretty, conscientious of where you're going to spend it. And yeah, for us, it became this model of finding a team of people who can do multiple jobs, and we can make movies very cheaply. And luckily, we've kind of just like found a way of continuing to make content every single year, and people are excited to work with us just because I think they have a lot of fun on set. And we make mostly comedies, and like comedies mixed with genres. And I think that's been kind of a big hit for the people we work with and kind of our audiences for the movies as well.
Nothing like getting a good laugh and being taken out of the real world for a little while. So I think that's what's great about comedic movies personally. And so I see why, as a specialized niche, it's been so successful for you. I wanted to go back real quick to what Owen was talking about, that he called this an asset. What a really neat asset and a way to continually perpetuate your wealth. Well, any of you guys who have ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or any of Robert Kiyosaki's stuff, what a great point to make. He discusses making money while you sleep, not necessarily in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but he talks about assets that pay you. And one thing that is a recurring theme in a lot of these personal finance space places is this intellectual property and it being able to pay you over and over and over again. And so the you couple that with the ability to take tax deferred um, savings as far as your income is concerned, and I think that can be really powerful for building wealth long term. Now, obviously, exponential gains can be found in crypto. I don't think that's any secret to this community. I personally don't feel comfortable having all my net worth in one individual asset. So it's pretty neat that you've found something like this, Owen, because Mountain Crypto Advisors, which many of the people watching right now are familiar with what we've created, which is essentially, we call it the quarterbacking of your wealth, but really all it is a family office. If any of you guys go Google a regular definition of family office. I like this, being able to add this to the repertoire, the toolbox of tools that you can use for minimizing um, your tax liability. That's literally what it is a liability. Because we were looking at real estate syndication deals, and we're still going to be doing a lot of that. We're going to be offering that to our clients. But in the future, I'd like to find stuff like this that we can fund that's also fun. It's not just the boring old brick and mortar providing place for people to live and be able to do their day to day, but also being able to get involved in something that's kind of fun, and not everybody can say they're involved in this industry. So I think that is really, really cool. I just wanted to state that, but I do want to circle back to Jeff, your strategy, your model. So from when we were talking behind the scenes, you've spent a lot of time sussing out, and did you write all of the scripts yourself, first of all?
Uh, as a group, my first two films were written as like a kind of a group effort, and we kind of split credits throughout. My last film that's premiering at the end of the month in London is that I made. I wrote that with our producer on this film as well, Joe, who's not on this call, but
He's
and the
a
project,
really cool guy. He's hilarious and
yeah,
a
he
big
is
Beavis and
hilarious.
Butthead fan. So I just want to throw that out there right now.
Yeah,
So we'll
huge
have
Beavis
Joe
and
on at a
Butthead
later
fan, and
date.
Simpsons as well. He's watched every episode maybe like 20 times. But
Love
um,
it.
yeah, the current movie that we're working on now, Mooch, is solo writer, solo director, first
Yeah.
solo credits, if you will,
That's
on
cool.
this
And
one.
so going back to the actual model that you guys have, is you guys have scripts lined up for projects for the next 8 years maybe?
Yeah, basically, yeah. We kind of always like to have a trunk that we call, or like a chest of scripts, and just because the world changes every year. So this movie actually that we're working on now was supposed to be made 2 years ago, and we were gearing up to make it, and then COVID hit. None of us were expecting it. We're like, okay, how do we shift? We quickly shifted to Mean Spirited, which is coming out at the end of the month, and basically made it because COVID restricted how many people could be on set. So we having that trunk of scripts allows us to be like, okay, how do we make a movie when we're only allowed 20 people in a room, and we're able to do that. And I think that's kind of the idea we had behind it, was just to constantly have things that we could be making so that we're not reliant on anyone else. That's kind of what it comes down to, is we don't like being reliant on people.
Well, and we haven't talked about this yet, but I'm curious. I'm willing to bet that some of these scripts that you have, based upon the times and the new experiences you guys have had, these scripts kind of change over time. You add and delete stuff from them that you're like, oh, this would be so much better, especially the way the world's going right now, what's going on in the world. This is trending, this isn't. And so those are probably moving targets that you're constantly rewriting at least parts of these scripts.
Yeah, definitely. It's the idea kind of came from when I first moved to New York. I interned for a very famous writer, and he had like a trunk of 20 scripts, and a script that he wrote 20 years ago would sell because he's like, it's now relevant because this is trending right now. And it would be this model that he had, I kind of took and put into practice of like a full production company of like, okay, let's get tons of material because we never know when something's going to be the right thing to make.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's really cool. So you've sold 2 movies currently. You have the third one that's out. It's looking to be distributed pretty soon, or purchased and distributed soon. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, we acquired distribution with a partner, and we're basically premiering in London end of this month, and then we'll have our United States premiere in the fall, probably early October, and then we'll probably make a streaming deal, which it sounds like we already have interest in that, so that's good.
Oh, that's fantastic, guys. And so every project that you guys have done so far, I mean, this last one that is about to do the US premiere, what was the name of that one again?
The one at the end of the month?
Yes.
That's called Mean Spirited.
Mean Spirited. So Mean Spirited is still yet to be officially purchased, but the previous 2 movies have not only been purchased, but made money as well.
Correct.
For investors.
Yeah, correct. And again, that's attributed to the fact that we saved as much money as possible while making it, and everyone sacrificed to make it so that we could sell it. And for us, it was I was an investor in all those projects. I'll be an investor in this one and the future ones. So it's kind of, how do we want repeat investors. We want to treat everyone's investment with a ton of respect so that they want to keep being a partner, because I don't see the point in tossing someone's money away and then
So you're looking for long-term investors, and I think that's something you see in the Hexican community, right? I mean, we've got a lot of delayed gratification-minded people that are looking at long-term investments and long-term business partners that they like and would like to continue doing business with. And you can't, there's the old saying that you do business with the people that you like. But I mean, even more true than that, I think, is you do business with people that actually do business, and you guys are in the business doing business. So I think that's something to be said for you guys. So how did you find out about the Hex community, and how did Hex earn a credit in this movie, and possibly even some opportunity for Hexicans to be in it?
I can take this one, Jeff, since so basically we were trying to figure out how to fund Mean Spirited, the one that's premiering in London now. So that was, I think that was maybe like early 2021 that we were fundraising for that. And my close friend Chris, he was just showing off his steak wrap to me constantly. and so I
Hexicans do.
Yeah, and then I FOMO'd in hard, and I won't say the exact numbers, but I kind of told I know, but I told Jeff, I'm like, hey, I'm planning on investing this amount of money, but I actually think it'll do well in this in this crypto asset, and then whatever it ends up being is what we'll put into the film. And then it did crazy multipliers. And
Which
then,
I have to jump in, Owen. I'm sorry, because at one point Joe and myself were like, "Dude, pull it out!" Like it doubled or something, and I was like, "We were like, dude, you got to pull it out tonight. Like we can't risk this."
And then he would have missed 12 other doubles if he had. So.
And then he forgot, and literally it like tripled or quadrupled, and we're like, "Okay, thank you."
Never mind. Yeah. Don't listen to crypto noobs and plebs on crypto advice.
Yeah. So yeah, what's funny, I actually didn't want to pull it out but we needed to make the film happen, and I had other investors that like didn't work out at the time for whatever reason, and then so we made the movie happen, and it didn't feel right to not put it in the credits because it just was like it wouldn't have been possible.
Made possible by Hex. Yep.
Yeah,
and that's in Mean Spirited, so there is a credit to Hex in Mean Spirited.
Yeah, very prominent credit.
Cool.
It's like more prominent than SAG.
So I love it.
Yeah, so it's really big. And it is premiering. Someone asked it's premiering at Fright Fest, which is actually like a really huge for our genre in London. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah. When does that premiere?
28th of August.
Yeah, okay. if you're in London, you're welcome to.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, I'm not reading chats right now because I want to get to you guys here in the chat here in a couple minutes. We're going to go through a Q&A with Owen and Jeff here. But your Hexcellent said, what's the name of the festival it's being premiered at? May entice a bunch of UK Hexicans to go and show some support. So, yeah, you guys want to support a film that has Hex in the credits. It's on the 28th, and it's called Fright Fest. Is that what it's called?
Yep. Yeah, Fright Fest UK. If you go online, if you just type in Fright Fest UK, you'll see it's playing on Sunday, and you can buy tickets on there. And yeah,
clip that, throw it on Twitter, and let's get that out to the Hexicans. Let's circulate that, guys. Anything that gets more people to support something that's a Hex project, that's great. So, with that in mind, there is going to be a very prominent credit in the Mooch movie for Hex and Hexicans, and there's an opportunity even for Hexicans not only to invest. So today we're announcing publicly that there is a public raise available, that it is open to the Hexicans. In the description below, you will find the Telegram group as well as the email address in which you need to reach out to discuss with the First Names Films production crew what it's going to take to become an investor at this point in time. And then you guys can discuss numbers. No one here at Discourse Syndicate is going to dox you or know who any of you guys are. But if you are going to invest, you will have to become a known player, unless you want to just donate to the film, which is also an option, which they can get you a donation address as well if you're interested in doing that. But the minimum investment is $1,000, and $5,000 gets you what, Owen?
So our plan is, and there'll be a cap, like we can't have everyone as extras, but if you invest at least $5,000 and you're the first, X amount, maybe 30, 50, depends on, what we can get away with. We'd like to do as many as we can, but there is like a limit to it. Investors actually in the movie as extras for the big concert scene. And then we also had the idea that they could, wear either merch that we help pick out or something to that effect representing Hex or Pulse Chain or whatever is fun for people or that investor is really passionate about. So that's an idea that we thought would be really cool.
And I believe 5,000 also is like the start of the tax break, right?
Yeah. So so you also, at least $5,000 for us to issue you the tax loss, and that's only because the government charges us money to issue that to you. So it's just a cost that we incur and time. So you get a fancy packet. It's great. So.
Oh, fantastic. That's really cool. That's really cool. So we have some special credits you guys are offering up to the Hexican community. Would you mind explaining what those threshold levels are for the amounts donated and what those titles come with in the credit?
Yeah. So right now we have, producer credits are, and Jeff can maybe talk a little bit more about how valuable those are in the industry. yeah, if you're interested in film at all and want to participate in the space, not just with this project, but many other projects, credits are a great way
ongoing
to do that.
relationship, guys, ongoing tax benefits, ongoing uh, cool kid points for saying that you're in the film industry. So there is that.
Yeah, and you get an IMDb profile and that sounds like that and stuff like that. So we have a couple slots open. So we have just fixed slots. So the first two investors who invest at least $250,000 or more get a co-executive producer credit on the film. And then we have two other slots available. Yeah,
With working with the highest of stakes, I've found out that is a big deal, guys. And like he said,
yeah,
you get an IMDb page too.
Say a little bit more about it, Kinetics, the co-executive producer credit and what that means from your standpoint.
Yeah, so from my limited, not in the industry standpoint, that gives you a lot of credit within the industry if you ever want to do projects in the future. Not only do you get the IMDb page, but you get that on the resume, where you may actually be hit up by others within the industry to say, hey, you were a co-executive producer on this film. Is there any opportunity you'd like to work on this? And then that's when you guys get to play the cool role of sitting back, reading the script and saying yay, nay, and being the guy behind the scenes, and possibly an opportunity in the future if you want to be a public feature of a public person within, or persona, I should say, on screen. There may be future opportunities for you there too.
We really want these like credit partners to be meaningful partners with us. We want to actually like collaborate with them and make sure to really get their insights and really make sure that they're getting the partnership that they think is worth their time and investment. So I started as a big investor, and then I just got more involved in the company. So there's always that option of getting more involved if you're really passionate. And then we have two other credits available, which is the associate producer credit, and that would be at least $100,000 of investment. And that is industry standard for getting your IMDb profile set up and things of that nature. And then we made a special custom credit where
I love this one. This is one of my favorites, honestly.
This was yeah, I'm curious. We have the option to make custom credits, so we made a special one for the Hexican community if you all are interested. So if you're investing at least $50,000 or more, and there's not like a fixed amount of these, so but if you're investing at least $50,000 or more, you'll get the custom credit Hexican Lord.
Hexican Lord, you guys hear that?
It'll be on IMDb and stuff, which would be just hysterical. So
I think that's really cool. Is there anything about the investment opportunity? I know you guys, we've talked about this, that there is the intention from the film crew to make the investors whole and even profit first before the creative side. I don't know how in depth you guys want to discuss that, or if you want to wait till people actually reach out to you on that. But if there's something real quick you can say on that,
I'll just mention a couple things. Is that if you're a credited producer, like in those three categories, you are invited to participate meaningfully, like in the production, attend script read-throughs with the cast, all premieres, special screening events, parties, and award ceremonies. So that's also included as part of like the producer credit bucket. And then we've also committed to allocating 1% of the film's gross profits for every $25,000 invested, and that's just pro rata. So you don't have to invest $25,000 minimum. Obviously, it's just that's sort of the
that's the simple math. Yeah, that's the simple math. It's about 1 point for every 25K invested.
Yeah, and then but that is after investors have been compensated at least 120% of their money back.
Yeah, that's huge, guys. So a lot of people don't understand what a waterfall is. What Owen's explaining right now is a waterfall. So the investors invest a set amount. There's 100% of their money, as long as the film is profitable. There is 100% of their money returned plus a 20% return on top of that. Is that correct, Owen? Is that the right way to explain that?
If the film breaks even, 100% of the money goes to the investors to make them whole. So it's not necessarily just the make profit aspect.
Yeah.
It's not like you get just the profit. It's like we pay all the expenses, then the first money goes to the investors until they're fully made whole plus 20%. and then there is the profit sharing forever for the lifetime of the film. And films hopefully would, continue to create yield for all time, especially if we as a community keep making it popular and stuff.
And not just with new films, but as these are assets, they're intellectual property. As an investor now, there is royalties, correct, for the future use of this film?
Yeah, so we'll sell it multiple times. So, this first deal that we're working on for Mean Spirited, we'll do another deal after that. We'll do deals in other countries. And so there's constantly money coming in.
And I think it's really important. All of you Hexicans out there right now sitting through a bear market, and you realize it's a bear market. And if not, you haven't been paying attention, because every Hexican is screaming it on Twitter or their YouTube channel right now. But I think this is great to diversify outside of crypto so that you have revenue and cash flow from outside of crypto that can support you and sustain you and your families while you're waiting for the next bull run and the next run up.
Yeah, I think it's important to have different assets in different cycles exposure. I just went, who was in a hedge fund.
I just went deep back into real estate. I love it. It's an infinite return for me. It's no money out of my pocket the way that I invest real estate. And so that right there is another form of cash flow that's outside of any. Let's put up this here.
Freddie quotes.
Yeah, Freddie quotes $5. You can go ahead and read that one if you want. No big deal.
Yeah. So Freddie's question: what happens if you promise to invest in a film but then don't pay up? Would other films not want to work with you anymore? So that's, I think it's actually a
good question. Yeah.
So that's called a rug pull, and that happens all the time. People make commitments and they don't pay up. I think it depends on how far along we were in that agreement. So if it's just like a verbal, I'm going to do it, great. And then if it's like we signed a contract, then there could be like a suit or something. But I don't think that that's even worth really talking about. Usually the person would just pull out before they even sign a contract if they can't do the thing. But that's just normal business.
We had two people on the last one sign a contract and then never delivered the money. And I will say, like, from our perspective, like, we would never recommend anyone working with them. And also we just won't work with them again just because it just...
Yeah, we didn't really do anything about it. We just were like, well, they're not really right partners.
Yeah. Not the right partner for you guys moving forward.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, keep it moving.
And Jeff can speak to this too. It is kind of like a small world where people are very aware of who is not great to work with and who is good to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like what MT Coiner said in here. He said, y'all need to offer actor Hexican at Kyler Kaufman some roles in future films. We'll have to get you two connected, JR. So that way you guys can look it up, look him up on his IMDb page. He just had a new one that came out. So we're really excited as a Hexican to support him as well. So Alan Thick here, I just want to throw this out here. He says, hi, Kinetics, can you ask Jeff why he is so handsome?
That's, Alan Thick, that's, get it from you. That's all I
can say.
Jeff does
not Children of the Grave talk about the back end work that I've been working on. So
Jeff, can you sell your workout plan to everybody?
Yeah, Sean T. Insanity. That's miserable. Don't recommend it.
Blackwing, I love it. So I've been in the crypto markets with Blackwing since 2017. We used to slum in some of the same Discord rooms, and he's loving this awesome stuff. Yeah, those of you guys who have those outsized gains in crypto, look at putting these in other places too. Okay, guys.
I also saw that someone was like, why aren't you talking about T-shares all the time? And I hope everyone here is already very aware that those exist and great ways to create yield. And the second thing is, as far as like your wealth management, like lifestyle, T-shares is only one part of that. There's the other 50% that you could get to the government. And then there's also the marketing part of your asset and helping, promote it. And so this is like a sustainable way to do marketing, because you can actually get the word out about your asset. You get your money back. Like imagine like a NASCAR sponsorship, but actually pays you money back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Now, it was really cool of the community to come together to fund that NASCAR. But imagine if you guys funded the NASCAR and you got a monetary return on top of Hex getting promotion as a brand. It's kind of a win-win right there as far as I'm concerned. So Nick
And a
Green, the
tax
Hex
write-off.
machine. Yep, and a tax write-off on top of that. Absolutely. So Nick Green, Hex Machine. I'm not 100% certain he is involved in the movie industry, but I know that some of his best friends are. I got to meet this gentleman in person, so I think he's pretty excited to see that. Yep, there we go. Well, that's great, guys. Actually, pretty much went through. I love back to D Mooch life. So looks like we've already got a fan here. So that is cool.
And
I
I'm
love it.
looking up Kyle Kaufman's IMDb. Looks like he just made a comedy. To check that out.
That should be Geo, right? Is that the one that's popping up? Because he just recently showed us it's he's a really cool kid. I bet he's super easy to work with. It'd be something that, you know, if you happen to see one of his films and some of the work that he's been in, I can definitely put you guys in touch.
It's about
that'll be
skateboarding.
really
That's
easy.
cool. I bet he likes our friends over at the Warble, which is a skateboard group that we're buddies with.
That's cool. Well, you guys, all of you T-share investors out there, as Owen said, yes, I think this community is pretty aware of T-shares at this point in time. If you aren't, go back through the last 2.5 years worth of content that Discourse Syndicate has put together, because we beat that horse to death, and we do every now and then retouch back on it for the newbies that are out there. But this is more for those of you who have had the outsized gains that are looking somewhere else to get yourself a tax deferment. So that's great. So, is there anything else that you guys would like to touch on today? Because I think this was great. I think there was a lot of useful information in here that people can at least mull around and consider, and maybe brainstorm if something like this works well for their investment portfolios.
Yeah, love it. And then I think I'll be on a little bit tonight to talk a little bit more in depth with T Rob.
Yep. So T Rob can't wait to talk with you guys. Yeah, he was excited when we got that all set up.
Yeah,
but,
so
I think we should talk. I think we would be doing the community a disservice to not talk about Lacey Claire Rogers.
So. Wow. Yeah. So Kinetics. How was your interview with her? Was it good?
Oh, it was great, man. She's so easy to talk to. She is a super cool chick. I can see why her and Richard Hart hit it off in Sweden. I think it was really cool. I liked, and of course I can't really speak to it because none of you guys have seen yet, but the clips that she's in the Highest of Stakes are just absolutely amazing. I think she's going to crush it in the Mooch movie, and I'm really excited to see how that comes forward. And I think it'd be a great place for her to cut her teeth in this industry and hopefully do more projects with you guys as you guys grow in the future. Or I should say us as a community as we move forward in the future.
Yeah, that's the hope. And the other cool thing I thought would be cool is that if the community gets more involved, we can all kind of think through what future projects we can make together, who might be good casting, and it could be a little bit more collaborative. It would be great.
And I think that's something that you're really looking forward with the associate producer and the co-executive producers. That's a relationship that you would like them to keep an eye out, I think, for some of this talent. Hey, I think this would be great. And especially knowing what the next movie would be and being able to read through the script and be able to play an active role with that, not just in the Mooch movie, but all the movies that you guys do going forward.
Yeah. I think the one other thing I'd mention about this project is that it's a pretty mature project. So Jeff has been writing.
Yeah. How long have you been working on this one specifically?
I think, 6 years or so. It's been through the ringer. It's been changed for I think it's like 30 something drafts at some point of like rewriting and it's been like the script that everyone who reads it is pretty jazzed about it. It's kind of like the Big Lebowski sort of vibes, just in like a New Jersey golf world, and it's super funny, and we're Yeah, I'm super pumped about it personally, and I think the cast will be pretty impressive when people kind of finally, when we're able to kind of start announcing some of those things. And um, yeah, we're super jazzed about it, and I'm personally pretty pumped about just opening up to different avenues. Like traditionally, we would go to different sort of avenues for investors in a film, so this is new to me, but I'm kind of excited by it just because I think so far it's been like a cool community as an outsider. You know, I'm not totally involved in the crypto community, but being a part of this through Owen and kind of Kinetics and just being able to experience this, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's one of the first possible like successful ways of investing in movies through crypto versus like some of the nonsense I've seen over the years, which is why I always kind of stepped back from it, just because I think people did it just to kind of, you know, like do it because it's the cool thing to be doing. But this feels legitimate, and I think it's a cool opportunity to open up sort of like a crowdfunding campaign for investors in a movie. And I think, yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be cool for me personally just to like we raise our budget and then be able to go to press and kind of be the first movie that legitimately raised a budget via a crypto
from
community.
A specific community. Yeah. You guys, we've as Hexicans have been first movers in a lot of different things. We've done a lot of things that crypto communities have not come together to do. And I think this would just be a testament as we come together of us being standing above the rest of the communities out there in crypto, being able to do cool stuff like this. So I really like that idea. Yeah. So Toby Wan, he just watched the pitch reel. Seems pretty cool. Now that's in the Telegram group, guys. That's in the link in the description below. You guys should also check out the potential cast list. You might be surprised, guys. Might be surprised at some of the names that are on that list that are interested in this, because you said it's like a cult classic, kind of like a Big Lebowski type film. This is, I think, Owen, the words you use with me is this is an actor's movie. Sometimes the actors will go after these, even though they're not super high paying, because they actually get to use their craft in this. Maybe that was you, Jeff, that actually told me that.
I stole that from Jeff, but Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think like a lot of actors who are successful look for opportunities between their schedules where, you know, you'll do a Marvel movie and then you'll have like a 2-week window. And these kind of movies are the opportunity that we're able to kind of go to a bunch of those bigger actors to ask them to come for a week and do something different than what they're traditionally doing. And I think some people aren't into it and some people love it. So I think it's kind of just, you just try and find the perfect marriage of these like great actors who will come into these parts and kind of play around for a week for a smaller movie, but it's super fun for them. And they kind of get to be the hero for a week too, because they're making a small movie elevated.
Mm-hmm. Love it. This is cool. Well, I appreciate you guys' time today, guys. If there's anything, I want to save a little bit of content. I know Tim's going to have some good questions for you guys for this evening. The rest of the Discourse crew, all of you guys out there, come join us tonight. It's 6 p.m. I believe that is 7 p.m. Central Time. It's already in. If you guys just go to the Discourse Syndicate channel,
it looks like 8 p.m. Eastern on my
8 p.m. Eastern. So that would make that what 5 p.m. Pacific time. So I appreciate all of you guys joining us today. And with that, I appreciate all that you guys do, and let's continue to be the best community that we are. Appreciate you guys.
Love it. Thanks for having me.